Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today is a wonderfully crisp and inspiring day, a perfect moment for us to sit down, grab a comforting cup of coffee, and dive deep into the most intricate, heart-wrenching emotional dynamics unfolding right in front of our eyes. Let us unpack this beautiful mess together. We often buy into the popular misconception that the death of a romance is a loud, explosive event. We expect shattered plates, screaming matches echoing down the hallway, and dramatic, tear-filled exits in the pouring rain. But if you ask me, the real danger is almost always completely silent. The fatal blow to a relationship does not happen in a hurricane of rage. It happens quietly, sitting right next to you on the living room sofa. It happens when two people are looking at the exact same picture, sharing the exact same physical space, but living in entirely different, isolated universes. Today, we are witnessing this exact silent tragedy unfold between Dani and Andre, and it is a masterclass in psychological self-destruction. Let us set the scene, because the details here are absolutely crucial to understanding the depth of this unraveling marriage. Dani walks through the front door carrying a shopping bag and presents Andre with a few essentials she picked up from the store. But hidden among the mundane items is something highly specific: two adult coloring books. On the surface, this looks like a sweet, innocent gesture. Andre certainly sees it that way. His eyes light up with genuine appreciation, viewing this as a tender olive branch, a way for them to carve out a peaceful sanctuary away from the chaos of their lives. He hopes this quiet time will help them heal. But if we peel back the layers, this choice of activity is profoundly tragic. Why adult coloring books? Think about the psychology behind this choice. When our adult lives become too complex, too messy, and too stained with guilt, we desperately seek regression. We want to return to a childlike state where the rules are simple. Dani wants to color inside the lines because her real life has bled entirely outside of them. She is subconsciously begging for boundaries. She wants a simple, structured activity where if she just follows the pattern, everything will look beautiful in the end. She is trying to use a set of colored pencils to neatly shade over a massive, gaping wound in her marriage. Have you ever tried to fix a massive, overwhelming problem with a tiny, superficial solution? Imagine buying a new, brightly colored daily planner to cure a deep-seated clinical depression, or rearranging your living room furniture to fix a failing career. It is a deeply human coping mechanism. We focus on the micro because the macro is far too terrifying to confront. Dani is doing exactly that. She is trying to cure a catastrophic marital betrayal with crayons and paper. It is heartbreakingly relatable, but it is also a massive, blinding red flag that she is entirely in denial about the gravity of her situation. As they sit down together, Andre takes the initiative to open a bottle of wine. The sensory details of this moment are suffocating. The pop of the cork, the deep red liquid pouring into the glass, the quiet scratching of pencils on paper. Andre is fully present in this room. He looks at his wife and decides to lay his armor down. In a moment of striking vulnerability, he apologizes to Dani. He asks for forgiveness for the times he turned to the bottle, using alcohol to escape their marital problems. He is taking accountability. He is offering his bare neck, hoping to start completely fresh. This is where the emotional dissonance becomes almost unbearable to watch. Andre thinks the enemy of their marriage is his drinking. He believes that if he can just stay sober, stay present, and hold his wife's hand, they will survive the storm. He has no idea that the real enemy is not in a glass bottle. The real enemy is living rent-free inside Dani's mind. As Andre speaks his truth, Dani offers her own apology. She tells him she is sorry for ever prioritizing Bill over him. She says the words and they sound right, but they are a half-truth. And guys, half-truths are infinitely more toxic than outright lies. Let me give you a specific example of why this is so dangerous. Have you ever had someone apologize to you for stepping on your toe while you are secretly hiding the fact that you accidentally set their car on fire? That is the exact asymmetry of guilt happening at this table. Andre is apologizing for his flaws, entirely unaware that the foundation of their marriage has already been blown to pieces. Dani accepts his apology, nodding along, playing the role of the forgiving, committed wife while carrying a secret that would absolutely annihilate him if he knew. As Andre pours the wine, the facade begins to crack. Dani tries to focus on the intricate patterns of the coloring book, but the moment she lets her guard down, the memories flood back with violent force. The elevator, the terrifying howl of the tornado outside, the desperate, reckless heat of her hookup with Bill. She tries to shove the memories away, taking a sip of wine to wash down the rising tide of panic. But the human brain is a funny thing. The more you try to suppress a thought, the louder it screams. She is sitting in a brightly lit safe room with her husband, but in her mind, she is still trapped in that dark stalled elevator with another man. Andre, completely oblivious to the war raging inside his wife's head, makes a beautiful romantic proposition. He looks into her eyes and suggests that they spend the entire night making love. He wants to erase the past. He wants to use physical closeness to burn away all the resentment, the distance, and the mistakes they have made. He genuinely believes that if they can just connect on the deepest physical level, they can forget who did what to whom. It is a desperate plea for intimacy, and Dani, trapped in her own guilt, agrees. But here is the harsh, unspoken reality about physical intimacy. You cannot use your body to bridge a gap that your mind has already abandoned. As they move to the bedroom, the tragedy reaches its absolute peak. Dani wants to be present. She desperately wants to look at Andre and only see Andre, but the ghost of Bill is right there in the bed with them. Every time Andre touches her, her mind betrays her. She closes her eyes, and instead of feeling her husband's gentle embrace, she feels the chaotic, forbidden grip of her ex. Think about the profound isolation of this experience. We have all been in a crowded room where we felt completely alone, completely disconnected from the people talking around us. Now, take that feeling of isolation and amplify it 1,000 times. Imagine being physically intertwined with the person you vowed to love forever, engaging in the most intimate act two human beings can share, and realizing your soul is miles away. Dani is performing the role of a loving wife, but she is mentally entirely absent. She is physically making love to Andre, but psychologically, she is betraying him all over again in real time. When it is finally over, the silence in the room is not peaceful. It is deafening. It is heavy, suffocating, and thick with unspoken doom. Dani lies perfectly still next to Andre. She expected this night to bring relief. She hoped that by going through the motions, by coloring in the books, drinking the wine, and giving herself to her husband, the guilt would magically wash away. But as she stares at the ceiling, the crushing weight of reality settles on her chest. She feels no relief. In fact, she feels infinitely worse. She turns her head slightly to look at Andre. He is resting breathing evenly, likely feeling a sense of accomplishment and renewed hope for their future. He thinks they just took a massive step forward, but Dani's eyes are wide with a terrifying realization. She looks at him with profound remorse, realizing that she cannot simply outrun what happened with Bill. The secret is not just a mistake she made in the past, it is a living, breathing entity that has moved into their home. It is sleeping between them. This brings us to a terrifying crossroads, and I want you to really think about this. What happens when a secret becomes too heavy to carry? Dani is currently white knuckling her way through her marriage. She is acting out a script, hoping her feelings will eventually catch up to her actions. But how long can you hold your breath underwater before your lungs finally burst? How long can you pretend to be the hero of a story when you know, deep down, you are the villain who planted the bomb? And we cannot forget the external pressures closing in on them. They are not just dealing with internal marital decay. There is a literal stalker, Heather, watching their every move, waiting in the shadows to exploit their weaknesses. Andre is already on edge, battling his own paranoia about his hidden past in Europe. What is going to happen when Andre, a man who is actively seeking a clean slate and begging for honesty, discovers that the woman lying next to him is the keeper of the ultimate betrayal? The tension here is absolutely electric, guys. The fragile piece they just built with a couple of coloring books and a bottle of wine is nothing more than a paper house sitting directly in the path of a Category 5 hurricane. Dani thinks she is protecting Andre by keeping this secret, but in reality, she is just loading the gun and handing it to fate. The explosion is coming, and when it does, the collateral damage will be unimaginable. Will Dani confess before the guilt completely devours her sanity? Or will the secret be ripped from her hands by external forces, leaving Andre completely shattered? I cannot wait to see how this ticking time bomb finally detonates, because one thing is absolutely certain: you cannot build a future on a foundation of ghosts.